presenter is from China Gold Association, Ms. Zhang Mingjin. She's going to release 2023 China Palladium Yearbook. Ladies and gentlemen, experts and scholars and friends, good morning. I'm really excited and feel privileged to have the chance to host or to preside over the launch ceremony of China Palladium Yearbook 2023. My name is Zhang Mingjin. I'm from China Gold Association. I remember last year it was in Pudong of Shanghai that we released the China Palladium Yearbook 2022, which was the first yearbook for Palladium and the Palladium in China. And now we're in Dishuihu, and the yearbook release will be the concluding event, will be the highlight of the Shanghai Platinum Week 2023 that shows the special connection, the bonding between the yearbook and the Platinum Week. So I will give you a quick walkthrough of the yearbook so that it will be easier for you to read through. So the yearbook basically answers two questions. The first, where do China get its PGM? And second, where do PGM in China go? It's about supply and demand. Ultimately, if you understand supply and demand, then you understand the first part, summary, which represents an overview of the situation 2023. Now that you understand supply and demand, you know why market prices change, because supply and demand underline the market price. So let's take a look at the review part. In the review part, we review the situation in 2022, including supply and demand of platinum and palladium. In 2022, supply of platinum stood at 90.8 ton and demand was the 53.6 ton, representing a year-on-year drop with the year before last year. In terms of palladium, supply was 46.5 ton and demand was 83.5 ton. Supply of palladium increased slightly year-on-year compared with 2021. So in total, 132 tons and 136 tons in total for palladium and platinum cumulatively in China, some demand and supply respectively. But this year we also added historical review section, giving you an overview of the 2 decades of supply and demand in China for platinum and palladium, so that you have more direct visualization of the supply and demand of platinum and palladium in China and how prices have changed in line with the dynamics of supply and demand. This represents a new chapter. So now let's answer the first question: where do China get its PGMs? For platinum and palladium, there are several sources: mining, recycling, as well as importing. So let's take a look at mining. Here I want to show you some figure. So 3.3 tons was the figure that happened last year. Total supply of platinum and palladium, 1.3 tons of palladium and 2 tons of platinum. They represent iron ore or run-of-mill, excluding the processed part or refined part, which only accounts for a very small portion out of the 373.6 tons that was produced last year globally, which means that China is not a major producer of platinum and palladium. As Nichols mentioned, that most of the producers are from South Africa, Russia, Zimbabwe, as well as Canada. As you can see that South Africa and Russia boast 70% to 80% of the total production and supply of PGM globally. Given the situation and given the distribution of PGM globally, let's take a look at the global perspective. Importing from the countries that are rich in PGM supply represent the major source of supply for China. So total import of PGM was about 103 tons. In addition to South Africa and Russia, Belgium and Japan also represent major exporting or importing source for China. As you can see, we imported around 103 tons, accounting for a high proportion out of the total 137.2 tons that were consumed last year in China. So for China, it's very important for us to have an independent source of PGM that we can control. And this independent channel for China is recycling. Last year, we recycled 31 tons of platinum and palladium last year, including 11.8 tons of platinum and 19.2 tons of palladium, mainly coming from auto catalyst, jewelry, petrochemical products, as well as fiberglass equipment and electronic products. Mainly, the spent metal came from spent auto catalyst. So here I've already answered the first question: where do we get palladium and platinum. And the second question is about the demand, or where do PGM go in China. Last year, in total, 136.4 tons of PGM were consumed, including 53.6 tons of platinum and 83.5 tons of palladium. Specifically, let's take a breakdown of the industries. 63.2 tons of platinum and palladium went to auto catalyst industry, and followed by 35 tons consumed by industry or manufacturing, accounting for 25.6%, followed by jewelry, which consumed 15.1% or 11.1%, 15.1 tons and 11.1%. Let's take a deep dive. Out of all the auto catalyst, most of the consumption was the consumption of palladium, standing at 71 tons. As you know, that China is the world's largest auto sales market, and new energy vehicle production in China has been ranking #1 for 8 consecutive years. As a result, the consumption of PGM by auto catalyst market account for over 50% of the total consumption in China, followed by demand from the manufacturing sector. Out of the 35 tons that were consumed in China last year, 23.2 tons of platinum and 12.5 tons of palladium was the specific figure. And let's take a deep dive into the specific industries. Ranking #1 is glass industry.
So fiberglass last year consumed 14.8 tons of platinum, and the industry takes 14.9.3, and the oil industry consumed less than 1 metric ton of platinum. So you can see that in the industries, there's different applications for platinum and palladium. So platinum is used in wider areas in fiberglass and chemical industries, while palladium concentrated in electronics and chemical industry. And the third largest demand of the platinum and palladium is 15.1 metric ton. They are almost all platinum, and palladium has totally exited from the jewelry market. Now they only exist in the processing sector of the jewelry. So in terms of the investment demand in Shanghai Gold Exchange, the Platinum Exchange has celebrated its 20th anniversary. So the transaction volume is 124 metric tons, and with a value of 26.1 billion RMB. So just now we have looked at the supply and demand of platinum palladium. Then let's look at the price changes in the 2022 of platinum and palladium. We have also included in the yearbook the history data so that it can give you a better view. Okay, so this is all of my presentation and my overview of the yearbook. Maybe last year, the publication of the yearbook is a starting point where we have filled a blank of palladium and platinum information. And this marks the second year. Hope that year by year we're going to complete our work and make our yearbook a more valuable information for all of the players. I also want to thank all the sponsors and supporters for our effort. Thank you very much. Now you can scan the QR code to get more information about the yearbook. And then we are going to present the book to our honorable guests. If I have announced your name, please come onto the stage. Ma Yuwei, Zhou Wei, Nimetella, Suzhou, Marketing Director Liu Yiping, Shenzhen Runmei Jewelry General Manager Wen Runbing, South Gold Research Institute Peng Qiuwen, Shenzhen Yueheng Jewelry Vice General Manager Chen Geng, Shenzhen Yuexin Precious Metal Marketing Director Xu Xiaoxu, and Hunan Baidejing Metallurgy Company Wang Siwei, and Shenzhen Dianjing Precious Metal Company General Manager Wang Jiawei. And let's also welcome Mr. Zhang Yongtao, the Secretary General of China Gold Association. And Nichols from Metafocus, also please come onto the stage and present the book.